My name's Evan. I'm 29, and if you'd told me a year ago that I'd be helping my own brother mess up his wedding, I'd have thought you were nuts. I'm not the spiteful type at all. I've always been the easygoing brother, the one who picks up the pieces, makes everything better, solves problems without ever needing a thank you. My little brother Tyler, he's 26, was the total opposite. He was wild, impulsive, and so charismatic that people just didn't notice how often he let others deal with his messes. And even with all of that, even after all the times he called me at 2 a.m. because he lost his wallet or forgot to pay something, I still agreed to help pay for his wedding. Help is a nice word for it, too. I was the bank. It started almost a year before the day Tyler and his fiancée, Amanda, got engaged at a family barbecue. He made a big show of it, getting down on one knee. Fireworks, the whole shebang. Everyone cheered. Amanda was bawling. My mom pulled me aside right away and whispered, "You'll help him out, won't you?" Like it was some unspoken rule that because I had a decent job, a house, and no kids, I was automatically the backup plan for everyone's bad decisions. I remember brushing it off at first. "We'll see," I said. But within a few weeks, I got the first call. "Bro," Tyler said, dragging the word out like he was trying to sweet-talk me, "venue prices are crazy, like totally insane, and Amanda really wants this place by the lake." That oak tree place, remember? Man, I just needed the deposit back. He swore he'd pay me after the wedding. Should have seen that red flag a mile away. After the wedding always means I have no clue how I'm gonna pay you. But stupid me, I went ahead and did it. Wired him a few grand, tried to forget about it. Yeah, right, like that was the end of it. Nope. Next it was the photographer hitting me up, then the caterer, then the DJ. Same song and dance every single time. Late night call, desperate plea, empty promise to pay me back later. I knew in my gut they wouldn't. By the time the invitations were sent, I'd footed the bill for over 80% of the whole damn wedding. Tyler and Amanda barely chipped in anything. I kept telling myself it was okay, you know? For family, for the memories, for some freakin' peace of mind. Things started getting weird a couple months before the wedding. Amanda stopped answering my texts about the plans. Tyler got really short with me every time I asked simple stuff, like what time I should show up to help or if there was anything else I needed to do. At first, I figured it was just wedding stress. Everyone gets stressed, right? Then one night at dinner, my mom spilled the beans. They were thinking about having a family-only ceremony, she said, casually swirling her drink like it was no big deal. "Just to keep it intimate," she said. I just stared at her. I am family. She looked a little embarrassed at least, but just shrugged it off. You know how it is with your family, parents, brothers, sisters, they can make everything way more complicated than it needs to be. I felt this knot in my gut. Did I mess things up now? Mom just kind of brushed it off. "Don't be so extra, Evan. You're still welcome at the party. Everything's going to be okay." But it wasn't okay. The air felt heavy, like the life was being squeezed right out of the room. Suddenly, it was like I went from being the one holding the whole wedding thing together to being some problem they had to awkwardly sidestep. Then, the final blow came a week before the big day. I was at work, sitting at my desk, looking over some contracts when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Tyler. "Hey man, just a heads up, don't bother coming to the actual wedding. We just want it to be about us, you know? No hard feelings. It's just better this way. You'd probably mess up the pictures anyway." I just stared at that message for the longest time, reading it over and over, making sure I wasn't misunderstanding, like I was some hideous thing that would somehow ruin their perfect photos. As if the person who had paid for everything didn't even rate a seat in the back. I didn't answer, didn't call, didn't yell or fire off some angry email. I just sat there and something inside me changed. Something slow, icy, and absolutely final. That night I pulled out the folder where I had been keeping all the contracts I had personally signed. Okay, so Tyler and Amanda, their credit was, well, let's just say it wasn't great. So naturally, everyone in the place we were getting married, the caterers, even the guy who rented out the chairs, they all wanted my name on everything. My bank account was paying for it all, you know? Every single contract had my name plastered on it, and every single one had this crazy cancellation policy. It would have been so easy to just blow the whole thing up, call everyone and cancel. I could have done it then and there. But I didn't, not right away. I needed to be sure, you know? I spent the next couple of days going through everything, checking dates, figuring out when I could back out without losing a fortune. I was super organized about it, really clinical, like I was sorting papers, not, you know, secretly sabotaging someone's wedding. Meanwhile, the family group chat, it was exploding with all this pre-wedding craziness. Amanda posting pics of her nails, those silly wedding memes. Tyler even sent pictures of the lakefront place, going on and on about how amazing it all was, how excited he was to see everyone. I just sat there reading it all, feeling like a complete stranger looking in on a life I wasn't part of anymore. Then 3 days before the wedding, Mom called. Her voice was all tight and strained. "Hey, honey," she said, way too cheerful. "So Amanda's parents are asking. You are still good for the final payments, right? The venue needs the rest of the money before Saturday. Oh, and the photographer wants his too." So yeah, they still thought I was paying. Seriously. Mom had promised to help, so I just went, "Okay, Mom," and hung up. No arguing, no getting my back up. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, that pathetic little light overhead, and started making calls. One by one, I canceled everything. The place we were getting married. Gone. Yeah, I lost the deposit, but at least the rest was wiped. Caterer, poof, photographer, canceled, the DJ, everything they'd been bragging about, all that planning and posting done. And since all the contracts were in my name, there was absolutely nothing they could do. When I was finished, I felt weirdly calm, not happy, not spiteful, just done. Like I'd finally closed the last page of a book I should have given up on ages ago. The next day, I kept quiet, watching the group chat blow up with rehearsal dinner talk, seating charts, how Amanda wanted some big dramatic entrance through those fancy double doors that weren't even booked anymore. I waited. Then, around noon, the calls started. Amanda's mom first, totally freaking out. Then Tyler, my phone buzzing crazy like a dozen missed calls in an hour. I didn't answer. I just watched my phone light up over and over as their perfect day fell apart. I let those voicemails pile up all afternoon. I didn't even listen. I knew exactly what they were saying. Panic, pure unadulterated rage. I bet there were some begging messages mixed in with some nasty words, too. It was insane how quickly things changed. Yesterday, I was the problem child, the one who would mess up everything. And today, I was suddenly the secret weapon holding their whole dream together. Without me, everything was falling apart. By the time the sun went down, the group chat was a total war zone. First, Casey, Amanda's sister, wrote, "Hey, does anyone know why the venue isn't responding? Mom is losing it." Then Tyler chimed in, "Evan, did you mess with the venue? Pick up the phone." Just a few seconds later, Amanda herself jumped in. "This isn't a joke, call me." I almost started laughing. But it wasn't funny, it was just awful, really, really sad. It showed how little they thought of me. I must have seemed completely worthless until I became useful, until things went sideways. I hadn't even begun the second part of my plan yet. The contracts were only the start. The final payment for the venue, the one Mom was so happy to tell me about, wasn't due until the rehearsal dinner morning. And in all the paperwork for the food, the photos, and the music, I'd arranged a little something special. Final approval had to come from me, the person who was paying, 48 hours before the wedding. No confirmation, no services. It was perfect. I didn't need to yell or make a big show. I just had to be patient. Quietly waiting and letting time run out. The next day, the rehearsal dinner's big day, it really started to dawn on me what a mess things were. Tyler's fiance's mom put up a message in the group chat. "Emergency meeting, 5 p.m. at my place. Everyone has to be there." That emergency part that really got to me. They were freaking out, super stressed. And I got to do absolutely nothing. That afternoon, finally, my phone lit up with a direct message from Tyler. Not a phone call, a text this time. "Dude, look, I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening, but we really need you to sort this out. Amanda's losing it. Just, whatever is going on, fix it. Please, no digs, no wisecracks about me messing up the pictures, not a single smug emoji. Just a please." For the first time in ages, I could tell Tyler was actually scared. Not the fake scared he used to get, the kind where he'd beg for cash after losing it all at the casino. No, this was different. This was real fear. Fear that he might have screwed up big time, like that it actually mattered. Still, I didn't answer. Instead, I went for a walk. It was a perfect evening. A warm breeze, that smell of someone grilling out, and the cicadas buzzing. I took the long way around the neighborhood, just breathing in that strange, kind of sad peace. Back in the family group chat, things were blowing up. One of Amanda's bridesmaids, who I barely knew, posted, "I just called the caterer and they said the booking is canceled." Seriously, what the heck is happening? Another text from Tyler. "Seriously, someone needs to sort this out right now. And Amanda, if this wedding blows up because of her family's nonsense, I am going to lose it." After that, the group chat just died. I could picture them all at Amanda's folks' place. Everyone glued to their phones, scrambling for last-minute venues, frantically searching how to plan a wedding in 24 hours, and then realizing with a total sinking feeling that they were screwed without me. The money they already put down? Gone. But the rest of the bill? They were nowhere close to having it. Tyler's gig barely paid the rent on their little place. Amanda had quit her receptionist job a while ago to focus on this wedding. Both sets of parents, they just assumed, silently and smugly, that I'd bail them out of any last-minute problems. They built their entire dream wedding on the idea that I'd always be there. No matter how awful they were to me, no matter all the crap they said behind my back, I'd always be there. Always the good guy, always invisible. Nope, not this time. Right at 5, my mom called. I let it ring. Then my dad, then my aunt, and then, surprisingly, Amanda's mom. Each time I watched the screen light up and then go dark. Light up, go dark. I didn't even bother turning the volume off. Their panic was kinda relaxing in a way. Like background noise fading away into nothing. Around 6, the doorbell rang. I almost just shut the door and walked away, but I was dying to know what was up. So I opened it, and there was Tyler. He looked awful. His hair was a disaster. His tie was all messed up, hanging around his neck like he'd thrown it on in a rush and then given up. He had these dark circles under his eyes and was panting like he'd just run a marathon. "Evan," he choked out, his voice cracking. "Dude, please, you gotta help. Just come back, fix this. You can still come to the wedding. We can take new pictures, whatever you want. Just don't let this happen." He seemed so small standing there. Not the cocky little brother who'd always joked about how he was finally getting the perfect day he deserved. Just a scared, desperate dude who figured out way too late that screwing people over has consequences. I leaned against the door, arms crossed, totally calm, detached. "Why would I want to be there?" I asked softly. "You said I'd mess up the pictures." Tyler actually flinched like I'd hit him. I was stressed, man. Then he stopped, clearly realizing that blaming Amanda wouldn't get him anywhere. "I messed up. I know I did." We just stood there for a long time. He was fidgeting, super nervous, and I was just watching him, still and quiet, like when the storm's over and you're standing in the ruins, too worn out to even be mad. "You didn't just mess up Tyler," I finally said. "You made it painfully obvious I wasn't family anymore, not when it mattered." He tried to say something, opened his mouth a few times, but the words wouldn't come. Finally, he just mumbled, "I'm sorry." Maybe he meant it, maybe not. It didn't change a thing. I didn't invite him in, didn't offer to make things right. I just gave him a tiny, kind of sad smile and said, "Good luck tomorrow." Then I shut the door. I leaned against it, my heart hammering not from guilt or regret, but pure, total relief. It was finally over, or so I thought. The next morning, I woke up to a ton of missed calls, a bunch of texts, and this crazy email from Amanda herself. It just said, "You ruined everything, but you're not done yet. We'll make sure of that." I just sat there, staring at her words. "You ruined everything." They burned into my brain, not because I was scared, but because it was so completely nuts. I ruined everything. After they used me, tossed me aside, and publicly embarrassed me. After they treated me like some dirty little secret they had to keep hidden from their perfect Instagram wedding pics. The nerve. It would have been funny if it hadn't left such a sour taste. I rubbed my temples, the exhaustion of the past few weeks finally hitting me. I almost deleted that email, blocked them all, and pretended nothing ever happened. But I knew better than that. I knew Tyler and Amanda, they weren't the type to just accept responsibility and walk away. Oh no, they'd pour gasoline on the fire and then act like I was the one who started the whole blaze. And bam, an hour later, my phone blew up. A text from Mom. "Evan, we need to talk. Amanda's family is threatening to sue. This has gone too far." "Sue?" I actually chuckled, a really dry, humorless laugh. What on earth were they going to sue me for? Breaking contracts I'd legally signed and paid for. Contracts that clearly said I could back out any time before the event. Good luck with that one, but I knew the score. This wasn't about the law, it was all about pressure, making me feel guilty, the whole family drama thing. They were betting I'd cave like I always had, but not this time. Nope. Instead of answering, I fired off every single contract to my lawyer just in case. I wasn't taking any chances. I needed everything documented, every cancellation, every deadline, every tiny detail they'd signed without even reading. I was so over being the good guy, the one who always cleaned up everyone else's mess without looking out for myself. By the afternoon, the calls started to die down. Maybe they were finally getting it. Maybe they were too busy trying to figure out their next move. Out of curiosity, I checked Amanda's social media. It didn't take me long to find it. There it was, Amanda's Facebook rant, a total mess. I couldn't believe how selfish she sounded. After everything we'd done for her, everything we'd included her in, she trashed our wedding day. "We're done," she wrote. Done. It was so angry, so entitled, I had to read it twice. She didn't tag me, smart girl, but she didn't need to. Anyone who knew us knew exactly who she was talking about. The comments were all over the place. Some people were just gushing sympathy. "Oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this." Others, the ones who knew our family, were a little more doubtful. They were saying things like, "Sounds like there's more to this story," or "Wasn't he the one paying for everything?" Maybe be nicer to the people bankrolling your fairytale wedding next time. I cracked a little smile, not because I wanted a public showdown or anything. I really didn't. But it felt good, you know? For once, people were seeing the truth, the stuff Tyler and Amanda had been hiding so carefully. As the sun went down, I wondered if I should say something, put out my own statement, call someone to set the record straight. But the more I thought about it, the less I cared. I didn't owe them an explanation. Not them, not anyone. They'd made their choice. They'd decided I was replaceable. They wanted my money, but not me. So they didn't get it, you know? Cutting someone off doesn't mean you get to keep all the good stuff. I cooked a simple dinner, sat on my porch, and just breathed. The cool night air felt amazing. It was the first time in ages I didn't feel weighed down by other people's crap. But right when I was finally starting to relax, my phone buzzed. A new number. Normally, I wouldn't answer, especially not now, but something I don't know, maybe it was just curiosity, made me pick it up. Hello? A beat. Then this voice, I didn't know it right away. It was a guy, all shaky and angry. You think you're so smart, he snarled. You think you can just make my family look bad and get away with it? You don't know who you're messing with. Click. Gone. I just stared at the phone. Was that Amanda's dad? I barely knew the guy. He'd barely spoken 2 words to me ever, and now he's threatening me like some movie bad guy. This awful feeling started to creep in. It wasn't just about the wedding anymore. It was personal. And from the sound of that call, they weren't done trying to get back at me. Not even close. For a few minutes, I just sat there in the dark, staring at my phone, listening to the crickets. It was almost funny, in a really depressing, pathetic kind of way. So after everything, after all the times I'd bylaid them out, sacrificing my own stuff, my money, and even my sanity just to fix Tyler's messes, this is what I got. Subtle threats from a dude I barely knew, and a bunch of accusations from people who didn't even know what the word thanks meant. If they'd missed half the letters in that word, I could have gotten mad. A few years back, I probably would have. I might have fired off a bunch of angry texts. Maybe I'd have even gone over there face to face to make them understand, finally, how much I'd given, how much I'd given up. But that night, something changed inside me. Not anger, not even sadness. It was like clear. I realized I didn't need them to get it. I didn't need their validation. I didn't even need an apology. What I really needed, what I'd always needed, was space. Total, no excuses distance from the people who only saw me as useful when they were in trouble, and then tossed me aside when they were good. And honestly, that was a good thing. The next morning, my phone was blowing up. More messages. Angry stuff, empty threats. One text from Amanda's dad said he was gonna take me to court for emotional distress. And that just made me laugh, like a huge, involuntary burst of laughter, you know, the kind you can't hold back, as if you could sue someone for not letting themselves be pushed around. But then, mixed in with all the garbage, there was one text that stood out. It was my aunt, dad's sister. Hadn't spoken to her much since I was a kid. She was always the black sheep, you know, never really got the whole family thing. Mom always said she kept to herself, skipped most family get-togethers. Whenever her name came up, it was always with a sigh and a head shake, like she was some kind of family tragedy. Anyway, her text was short, just a couple of lines. Heard what happened. Proud of you. Took me 30 years to stop being their doormat. You did it in less than 30. Good for you. Call me if you ever want to grab coffee. I just stared at it for a while, couldn't believe it. Then I smiled. I saved her number. I started thinking maybe family isn't about blood, you know. Maybe it's about who's actually there for you when the chips are down. Maybe it's about respect, not just being forced to show up. By lunchtime, the whole wedding fiasco was blowing up in the family. News travels fast, right? My cousin Jenna sent me a screenshot of Amanda's crazy posts on that local Facebook wedding group. She was practically begging for last-minute vendors, offering a fortune. I read the comments, a weird mix of amusement and, I'm not gonna lie, satisfaction. Most people felt sorry for her. Some offered a few suggestions. But a bunch pointed out that, with less than a day's notice, especially on a holiday weekend, she was basically screwed. I could totally picture the whole scene playing out. I remember Amanda totally freaking out in her folks' living room. Her makeup was smeared, her hair a disaster. She was yelling into her phone, and Tyler was just slumped in the corner, covering his face, probably wondering how everything went south so fast. And me. I was chilling at a little cafe downtown, enjoying the best coffee I'd had in ages, finally reading this book I'd been meaning to get to for ages. It was the first time in forever that I didn't have to deal with those frantic calls for cash or guilt trip texts, or that overwhelming feeling of owing them something. Just the peace and quiet of being done. Around 3 that afternoon, my phone buzzed one last time. It was an email, this time from Tyler. The subject line just said, "Please." I clicked it open more to see what it was than anything else. What I saw was a huge block of text, clearly written in a total panic. No punctuation, no grammar, just a desperate word vomit begging me to come back. He was begging me to make some calls to fix everything before it was too late. He swore he'd make it up to me. He promised we'd be brothers again, that everything would go back to the way it was. That Amanda didn't mean what she said, that their parents didn't really mean to threaten me, that it was all just the pressure. At the end, he wrote, "Please, I'm begging you, don't let this happen to me. Not us, me." And that was it. That was the final proof that it was never about family. It was never about love or thanks or respect. It was always about what I could do for them, what I could give them. So the gravy train had stopped. No wedding, no big bash, no picture-perfect stuff to show off online. Now, suddenly, they'd say anything to get me back. I just shut the email, didn't even bother responding. Instead, I started a new email, typed in Tyler's address, and wrote, "I hope things go well for you both, but I'm done being part of a family that only cares when they want something. Please don't contact me again." I hit send, blocked his number, Amanda's too, and their parents, cleared my phone log, and deleted the group chat. And honestly, I felt lighter than I had in ages, and I walked away. The wedding. Yeah, that never happened, not how they planned it anyway. A few months later, I found out from someone we both knew that Tyler and Amanda had tied the knot at the courthouse. No photographer, no fancy food, no big lakeside place with a big tree in the background. No family there. Just some awkward witnesses and a judge who looked totally over it. Amanda's parents wouldn't pay the bill once they saw how much it'd cost to switch everything at the last minute. Tyler tried to get some friends together for a party in the backyard, but most of them ditched him. Suddenly, they were all busy when the time came. Their perfect dream just fizzled out. Not because I did anything to cause it, but because it was never really about anything real in the first place. Just expectations and empty promises. And me, I rebuilt my life. Meeting up with my Aunt Rachel, the one everyone in the family always talked down about, was like finding a soulmate. She totally understood what it felt like to be pushed out of a messed-up family and come out the other side a better person. We got super close, like how family should actually be. I started putting all my effort into friendships where it went both ways, jobs that treated me right, and things I did for fun that I really loved. And for the first time in ages, I'd wake up every day feeling like I didn't have to do anything to get someone to love me. I'd finally learned the biggest lesson of my life. Sometimes, the only thing you can do is set that bridge on fire, and then just keep walking without ever turning around.